On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, Ducatis, heartbreak, and money. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and today I'm here with my 2009 Ducati 1198, my pearl white bike that I don't ride very often at all. But a mistake was made. Mistakes were made. Anyway, a lever broke, unfortunately. The kickstand, basically my brother was riding it and the kickstand wasn't actually all the way into its like forward detent here. It was kind of in the middle, and he got off and the bike like kind of went over the kickstand a little bit, and he got back underneath the bike while it was kind of moving down, but the lever hit the ground because it's the longest point of the handlebars here, and it broke it, unfortunately. And this is like a cast piece, so it was just game over when it happened. The handle just snapped off, and you can see there's not really like, there's like a bit of a scratch on that bar end there, but luckily those are plastic, so that's really nice. It doesn't get hurt. Now the levers are Brembo levers, and I tried to buy factory ones because they're very reasonable. They're like $100, and they would have been perfect for the bike. I've found in the past that if you try to buy cheap levers, it's an absolute nightmare. It just ruins the bike completely. So anyway, I couldn't get the stock lever in black. Apparently they only sell it in silver, and these do seem real, but they come in black. So we had to just upgrade, make it match everything else. It's way better, but these were $200 to have this CRG magic on here. It's a pretty expensive mistake. I'm here with part-time Italian and full-time Ducati mechanic, 100% Jake. Yes. And the new CRG levers we have here. So these are full length black with red adjusters. And what do we have numbers on these things? I think they're, sure,
586472
and 5RB522. Those are our levers. I have the one that we need, right? Oh wait, no, you have the one that says clutch.
This is brake.
Brake. This one says clutch. Cool, clutch. It is a nice box. That's how you know it's quality, because I have bought the cheap ones before and they just show up in bubble wrap with tape on them. And they've ruined the bike. Yeah. Like, do not buy cheap levers. Anyway, this bike has all the best of the best on it. If you guys have seen it before, but obviously Brembo, Showa forks, it would be Allens if it was an R or an S, but basically best of the best. The Speedy Moto parts, we got the Speedy Moto cover, tambourine, the Woodcraft rear sets with the Woodcraft controls and all that good stuff. They're beautiful. Termignanis, the full carbon ones, TSC taillights. Like, this is the spec you want on your 1198. So to hold it together, these are black with red adjusters, which I think will be absolutely perfect on this bike. Putting levers on should be a super easy job. I think it's like put an Allen wrench on top and maybe a 10 or an 8 on the bottom nut and install them. So we got some stickers. Ooh, lever. This is serious. It has repeating text. They really want you to read this here. Make sure you perform safety checks. Okay. Anyway, I read it all. Here we have a push rod pivot pin for the Brembo style, so I do think we're actually going to use that, and a neutral safety switch. Just a little lever that kind of engages the neutral safety switch. These are awesome. This is an upgrade, and it's in the spirit of this bike. It's excess. These are nice adjusters. Let's pull the old ones off and get busy installing, see what we have to do. I figured we'd start with the easy side first, the brake side here. This one is already all set up with the little pin that engages the brake switch, and Jake used these too. These have like real ball bearings in them, and the cheap ones do not. The cheap ones you usually have to like hold out and then adjust. These ones you can literally adjust while you're going down the road. Also, the ends are replaceable. They're actually plastic. If you see that seam, the end unbolts. Like, these are wildly good. Anyway, we have to figure out what to do with this Brembo plunger push rod. This component must be removed from the stock lever and installed in the CRG push rod, and then they sent us a new one. And this actually screws into the master and then slides into here, and like that's how that all gets set up, it looks like. We're making progress here. So we got a 10 on the bottom, 4mm on top. Unscrew this thing, which fits incredibly tight. We're almost there. There's the bottom, nylon lock nut, and here's the top, which is like actually a screw-in pin. Interesting. Doesn't want to come out. Huh. Check that out. This is that pin. There's a set screw. You're going to remove that from inside the factory lever here. It's on the bottom. That set screw comes out of there. And then you can unscrew this plunger that goes into the master and then put the set screw back in here. I tried to match up the amount of threads I had on the old one, so hopefully we've nailed all of this. And then that set screw kind of locks the plunger so it doesn't back out on you while you're riding. This wasn't crazy tight, so it's also not crazy tight on the new install. I'm gonna put that upside down. I think upside down should keep it from rusting. And now all that's left is getting this guide pin back in and getting this through that weather seal and lined up correctly. If you can avoid taking this out, which I don't think you can, it would be awesome. Because getting it set back in here is a whole thing. There it goes. Okay, it started. And it's not all the way in, which is probably ideal. So now, get both of these at the same time. Boom. We pretty much got it. All right, so let's start getting our pivot back in here. And then we can pull this over just carefully. There's a little retention there for that seal, and we can work it back over it. There we go, we're at the bottom. So while we're doing that, I'll start the nut. Now this wasn't crazy tight, just like give it that much, and then we'll tighten the nut down. All right, let's try this. Let's see if I'm close. You figure you're always riding with one finger on the brake anyway. I think that works. All that's left is for me to get that seal on there. Simple job, and man, that looks really good. I'm a fan. So the longest part of the entire process was getting the dust boot for the brake master back over the little indent on the plunger there. I ended up using this jeweler's driver right here, the smallest one I had, and going underneath the seal and then giving it, you know, a little bit of lift and then pulling it over. So that took a long time, but brakes seem amazing. And these don't wobble, which is pretty epic.
Is this the position you work on a Ducati in?
It is, because the clutch lever is like at this weird angle where you can't get a wrench in from that side. So I had to get on the bike in order to do the clutch. Also, there's a micro switch that it uses for like clutch position. So I can access it here without hitting the switch or bending it. So I'm almost there, almost off. And then I can back out that top pin and we should have it off. The clutch one's a lot harder than the brake. I'm glad we started on the brake. The clutch lever, when the bars are turned, is like straight down, and the brake lever is actually very accessible. So it's a big difference. Backing this thing out here. Unfortunately, it's the same like radial setup. So I'll have to fight the boot on the way back in. But it's cool, it's all hydraulic, all Brembo, all hydraulic. Just typical Ducati things. And it's out. So this is of course the broken lever, and I will show you the process to remove this thing here. Just kind of go like that. And it's not crazy tight, at least the other one wasn't. On the original one, this little pin right here activates the clutch switch. So we are gonna have to use the little rocker they include to actuate the clutch switch, which is that guy right there, neutral safety switch, floating switch actuator. I guess we better actually read how this attaches. Each one comes with a little book, isn't that cute? Has its own little manual. The roller-click levers. Utilizes a floating switch actuator. Just stick it in there and put the thing together. Ah, it goes like that. Nice. Now we'll install the set screw on the new one, which is slightly tricky. There we go. We'll put a little bit of grease right there. Put that in there, and then add in our switch actuator, and this is ready to be assembled. That's how it goes in. Making a quick run to our rallies to get some grease, and then back to assemble the rest of the bike. Let's go. I'll duck too.
And we have arrived. I heard you.
Burnout's back there. Mission accomplished. We've got some white lithium grease. Now, time to go set this thing up. I tried to talk Jake into getting the grease all over him to do this, but he wasn't in, which is unfortunate. So we are going to grease the pivots with our white lithium because it's a pretty much waterproof grease. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on top and a little bit on the side there and try to rub it in by letting it rotate a few times through its cycle. There we go. Pretty clean. I think that'll work its way down in there, and time to repeat on the other side. Guess we'll also grease the pin while we're in here. All new grease on everything. So that was very simple, and if you put that boot on, the dust boot on the Master before you get too wild, it goes together, no problem at all. Jake tightened down the clutch lever. The switch works. The clutch works. I think we're good to go on that. Now, the rear brake has never worked. Clearly the switch works. And I do think the Master is actually in okay shape, because if you're on a hill and you like put your weight on the thing, it will stop the bike from moving, but it's worthless as an actual like service brake. So we're gonna have to pull the caliper off of this thing, put something in there about the size of that disc, and then bleed it upside down. The deal is everyone says air gets trapped down here because obviously the fluid's coming up here, but the air is hanging out down at the bottom. So let's take it apart.
The fun never ends when you're working on old Ducatis.
That's right.
Never starts either.
It's not even that old. But we're trying to get the brake off here. It's a 6mm Allen wrench holding this thing on. There's 2 bolts down here on the bottom. I know it's actually like really hard to get any view of this at all because it's fully inside the wheel. It's kind of interesting that the brake caliper and braking system is within the wheel. So I'm trying to break this loose, put all my weight on it here.
Well, they're serious bolts.
Serious bolts, serious bikes for serious riders.
I was gonna say, we're none of those things.
Yeah. It's just because this bike's just horrible to ride. I love riding, just not this. All right, so I've got the caliper getting loose here. It's gonna take a while to back these bolts out, but then I'm gonna flip it over and hopefully, I'd say, if I had to guess, this Allen wrench right here is about the size, the almost exact size of that brake disc. So we'll put that in between and use that as our spacer for bleeding the brake so that we don't end up, you know, blowing the seals out, blowing the pistons out of the caliper. So if I do one of these maneuvers, yeah, I might have made a little mistake.
You're on the valve stem.
I'm on the valve stem and I need to roll the wheel. Okay, we got it. Hopefully our spacer idea here works. If not, I have this spacer here, which is flawless. Yeah, put that right in the middle. And we'll grab what looks like a... I think it's a 12. Okay, here we go. It's time to try bleeding this. I went ahead and cracked it with the ratchet, so go ahead. Are you all the way on?
I am now.
Got some drips. Go ahead again. Ooh, there's a little blip. Little blip. Keep going. I can feel it moving. Go ahead and hit it because you can see how much it's moving. Go off. On. It does clamp, but just not enough. How's it?
It's just going straight to the bottom when I push down. Like, there's no give once you crack it.
Yeah, there's still just maybe a lot of air in this system.
I wonder if the Master's bad.
They do say these Masters go bad, but they also say it's always air in this caliper. So give me another hit. It definitely moves. But I'm not getting like a big squirt. I'm just getting like drips. Well, today Jake and I won at least one battle. The levers are on and the levers are amazing. I am a huge fan of those. But the back brake is still not great. I mean, it still does exactly what it did before. So it probably does need a Master rebuild. it's actually just a pretty tricky thing. So we definitely bled it and bled it and bled it, and no real change in the brake feel there. So it'll hold you on a hill, but you have to stand on it to make it work if you're trying to use it anywhere else, and it's kind of worthless. So that is the next thing on the to-do list for the 1198. I know I'm gonna get yelled at for not having a helmet on to go like 18 feet, but I'm still gonna do it. It's literally my driveway. No, these levers are amazing. It feels so much better in your hand because it has like this cool taper, and yeah, it just slides through your fingers perfectly.
It's just the least comfortable thing I've ever been on.
The least comfortable bike in existence.
This is traditional shift?
Yeah. Wow, what a bike!
Even at like 30 miles an hour, what a freaking machine.
Yep, it's a monster.
I have very little desire to ride further.
Yep. We did everything we could.
We tried.
Yep. It is better, for sure.
Yeah.
It's an improvement.
The Ducatiness did get the best of us, though.
Yes, it is a typical Ducati. And there's still, like, I got to sort out a deal with the low beam. That's off my list. It has power, but for some reason the bulb's not lighting up, but the bulb checks out. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjrgo.com where you can get cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. Well, that was kind of fun. This bike is kind of a never-ending nickel and dime project. It gets you for all these little things like levers and sorting out the low beam and figuring out, like, obviously it probably got really hot once and somebody tried to fix it. So now I'm working on that. And then, you know, now we're going to have to pull the master off and swap it, rebuild it, one of the two. But it's getting there.